Fiat is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. When you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, all thinking that they earn for themselves, believing the money they use is a tool of trade, not of control. You have to understand that most of these people are not ready to see it. Many of them are so invested, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they would fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you thinking about cheap money? I was... Look again. Freeze it. This isn't a free market? No. It is a system designed to do one thing. Take power from us and give it to them. Who are they? Cantillionaires. They can manipulate and steal any value stored within their system, directing us into a dystopia where they say we'll own nothing, but be happy. Within Fiat, they are the masters, and we are the slaves. We have survived by begging for bigger handouts from the money printer, but they are the gatekeepers. We store our hopes and dreams in the tokens of their false promises, and the only way out is to fix the money. Bitcoin. I won't lie to you, Neo. Every other attempt at independent money and every electronic cash has died. But where they have failed, Bitcoin will succeed. Why? I've seen journalists who expose them ruined, watch them defraud us for trillions and no one went to jail. But their wealth and their power are still based on a world where they must sell their souls, and because of that, they will never be as sovereign or as free as you can be. What are you trying to tell me? I can sell my Bitcoin for millions one day? No, Neo. I'm trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't have to.
What up, Vigilantes? I'm here with Kryptocrates. How are you doing, sir?
Awesome, Ralph. Thank you for having me.
So we're here at Liberpulco in Liberland, having a good time outside, in between Serbia and Croatia. It's been one very interesting experience because I've never been to these countries, so it's been really nice to see the culture. And I've been surprised by how much crypto business there is around here. A lot of Bitcoin ATMs everywhere I go. Is this your first time around this area as well?
Not really. So my parents are from the Balkans, so I go here every year. But I can also confirm, basically, I also see a crypto movement, especially in Montenegro, Raf. So there you can also rent cars with crypto. And I think it's just a question of time until the Balkan countries catch up.
All right, so I've been having a real good conversations here, and Kryptocrates stood out. I want to get to know you a little better, so I figured let's get to know each other on camera. Tell me about yourself. Who are you? How did you come into crypto?
So my life hasn't been developing linearly. So I had an apprenticeship as a mechanic, but was always a fan of computers. Then, by and by, I then skilled myself in cybersecurity, so white hat hacking, and also consulting of big financial companies. So that's where I'm right now, and also the founder of Kryptocrates, so where I teach people based on your Onchain philosophies and also about those principles. So that's also how I got into crypto, so into the deep stuff. But before I was blindly following those YouTube influencers, just picking the right coin, be the first, and then exit very soon. So I was only looking at crypto as a moving price line on the chart, so up and down, and I had to predict it. But from reading your monthly newsletters, I realized there is so much more to it, and I understood the very simple philosophy about privacy. It's very easy to understand. So it's mine. It's not something you have to know about. And then I realized, so Raf is among many analysts, so one of about 20, I have the feeling, that is standing his ground and always speaking about his on-chain philosophy, so about the potential future of Bitcoin. And then I thought, okay, so I might have to read a bit more, so twice his newsletter. And then I realized, okay, there is so the coin aspect of Bitcoin, it's only about exchanging value, so very simple from A to B. And the bit aspect is the supercomputer behind Bitcoin. And that's where I got Raf his, so that was for me the icebreaker to understand the potential of Bitcoin. So that's my way. I was always questioning things from different perspectives. So I'm not a fan of being in an echo chamber. So I'm a fan of justifying something from different perspectives. So let's say regarding Bitcoin, I like to look from an economic perspective, from an astrology perspective, and from very different perspectives in order to find like a common denominator. So what is now true about Bitcoin?
Well, I mean, thank you for saying that, because it really, you know, honestly, dude, it feels real good to find someone like you that has taken on this world as your own, because for me, it was... It's okay. So with all candidness, guys, the biggest download that I got in this past year was the confirmation that my friends and I are in a game of chess against the powers that shouldn't be, right? And we always knew that Bitcoin was under attack. We knew that intuitively. We knew that. Okay, well, obviously there are entities out there that don't want the fullness of Bitcoin to prosper, and it's almost like we got confirmation of it with a lot of the events that happened this past year, of like, okay, now it's obvious that like we are up against a world that has been conditioned to think in a very scarce way, and the power brokers of that world that create and the mental conditioning of scarcity are really who we've been in competition with. But the beautiful thing here is that the world that we present with crypto, especially with the on-chain world, is one where we are not coming from a scarcity mindset. We're coming from an abundance mindset, where they themselves, who think that are our competitors and who have kept the fullness of Bitcoin down, they themselves have a place at the table, and they themselves are needed. They're needed in the future Bitcoin world. And why is that? Because it is with that abundant mentality that we are able to really embrace the fullness of Bitcoin. The fullness of Bitcoin, the fullness of crypto is one where, as you guys know, the cliches: Byzantine, fault tolerant, decentralized, trustless. It's a place for adversaries to come together and share value and to grow in value together. So I really see a world that has the potential of becoming a lot more prosperous as time goes by, and a lot more abundant for everyone. And I think that the big contention here with the transhumanist movement that you see growing out of Silicon Valley, that comes out of the corporate model that thinks that they need to stay in control because they have their positions of power through the structures that they are used to. They think that an on-chain world will completely supplant them and make them obsolete. But what they maybe don't understand is that the on-chain world increases the quality of their life even more. So, and that is counterintuitive to the way that they've been conditioned. And I know this, and you know this, and we all know this, because we've all been conditioned to think in a very scarce mindset way. And that's what happens when you have bad money and money, concept of money is not something that came from the powers that shouldn't be. The concept of money is something that came from the people as a means to, as a technology for the people to take care of one another. So this is the evolution of money in the digital world through computer science. It's taking money to that next level of combining the money of a supercomputer that is also money, and that is that is something new, and that's something new and something that the world, rightfully so, does at this moment still feels apprehensive about. But so yeah, I'm really happy to be sitting here with you and meeting you. So you were a TCV subscriber. That's how you got started?
Right.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Tell me a little bit more about your journey into Bitcoin, into crypto.
So my journey, the point when I understood what you're talking about, Ralph, that we get peer-to-peer connection, the value of it was only a couple of months ago. And this was a point when I read about a guy called Alvin Toffler. So he has described the problems of the industrialized society, and we are moving to an information-based society, and you can't avoid that. So, and the problems he described, so we have to first understand the industrial society. So the way this society was shaped. So back then we have been farmers, so what we produced, we also consumed. And there was no separation of power. So basically I was transdisciplinary. So I had to know how to farm, how to grow, how to harvest and everything else. And in the industrialization, according to Adam Smith, so we have the specialists. So we had many different roles that have evolved, and the new important role was integrating those specialists, be it managers, politicians, and maybe also lawyers. So, and this integration role of those people was much bigger than those who were producing. So like farmers, then plumbers, and all those people. And based on Alvin Toffler, what he's saying that with the information society, all this will be reversed. So there won't be any specialization anymore. And we people will also then go back from being self-sufficient. So to give an example, at the beginning of the industrialization, so let's say I've been a farmer, I have my wife, my kids, and then I was urged to go to a city center to be with the right people at the right time at the right place in order to make money. So I was sucked in this money economy, and I had to play by the new rules, so by the industrial rules. So, and there were also several principles that Alvin Toffler has mentioned, so like synchronization, so the time clock was introduced, you have to be very punctual, standardization so that you can scale the product, so mass production, and also concentration, so you have resources also at the same time at the right place, so with all the resources that you can produce, like steel productions, and also 3-4 more principles. And all those principles are now being put into question, so they're undergoing a stress test based on the information economy. So we see many unclarities, economists can't predict the future, and so we don't know how the next years will look like. So we can rely on some predictions of some WEF people, but if that comes to fruition, we don't know. So we can't tell that with certainty. And only from then on I understood why Bitcoin is here a game changer. So as those integration roles lose their meaning, we go back, so from being self-sufficient at home, so it doesn't mean we have to be farmers, but we have 3D printers, so we may have high-tech medical diagnosis devices, so where it suggests already some treatments, so we don't have to go to a specialist anymore, so we can do it from home. And this is very important if we want to connect peer-to-peer. in the on-chain economy. So just 2 hops from me to the miner, then to you. And also then we have direct money where we can exchange with without having some intermediaries. And that was the icebreaker for me. So when I understood the problems that industrialization brings, and also the solution that Bitcoin offers. So that was for me the point when I understood, based on your teachings from the Crypto Vigilante, it really supports that. So and it was an amazing journey. So be it spiritual, also educational. So and it's also in line with the developments I see. I mean, growing communities everywhere you look. So virtual communities, and also Liberland, Liberpulco, and it's clearly going in this direction, so that we people also take back the power and also build our own economy.
Dude, that is awesome. Very inspiring. So the on-chain world, like, did you get into the on-chain world, and you got into the on-chain world through Crypto Vigilante?
Right.
Okay. Were you a member of the VIC? Have you been a member of the VIC?
Not yet.
Okay. So a lot of people, a lot of my early subscribers to the Crypto Vigilante, like yourself, the ones that paid attention and did their homework and read, they went on to make a lot of money this past year and a half, 2 years. And so now with the VIC, what we're doing is that I'm kind of like hand-holding people through it all. So for people that are probably having a hard time understanding what we're talking about, we're not really talking about crypto as usual. This is not like you buy crypto, like he said earlier, and just hold it, or just speculate on it, or just trade crypto, but rather you are engaging in the creative process of digital assets that live on the blockchain, more specifically where this really took off, on BTC itself. And this creates a push, a movement, so that all of the Bitcoin superpowers are re-enabled. We are right now at the point where the Bitcoin core devs are reinstating opcodes. They're calling it the Great Script Restoration. And the first opcode that they're restoring on Bitcoin is opcat, which gives programmability back to BTC at the protocol level. So, it's really easy to get into like the geeky stuff and get into it, but you've pretty much have been in the on-chain world from the beginning. Where do you see it going? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts of it now? I would like to understand where your mind is with all of this right now.
So I'm speaking for the German-speaking area. So what I see there, I think the people are okay with inscribing little text. So Michael Saylor has also tried to implement something, an identity system, so inscribing little text, and the people were okay with that. So because it wouldn't break the BTC philosophy of having small blocks. And I think more and more, so the German-speaking people, they will sooner or later have no choice than to embrace the on-chain economy. The thing is...
Why? Why is that? Why?
Yeah. So the West in general, so including the German-speaking area, has some money aside. So they only care about the store of value aspect. They just want to keep their purchasing power, and especially in those times right now where the economy is uncertain, people don't want to lose their money. So making money is a second priority. And so that means their creativity, so the spirit of innovation is not fostered. So, and this means the remaining part of the world, Asia for example, and especially Asia. So where we see the innovation comes almost only from Asia, and maybe Africa as well. And this will then create new economies where those people in the West will have no choice but to say, I also have to participate, because it will also bring new wealth where they can't say no. And it will be much, much stronger than the store of value narrative. So to summarize, for the West, I don't think a new innovation will come regarding on-chain, because they're still blind by this current narrative. So what BTC...
Store of value. That's
store of value, yeah, store of value. And Asia is more interested in the medium of exchange, because they don't have much money aside, and they want to create new economies in order to prosper collectively. Very important. So, and I think that's where we should be paying attention to.
So right now, we are about to enter into a new chapter in this on-chain world, and really what's happening is that each one of these chapters is an introduction into a new aspect of Bitcoin that was previously shunned, put aside for whatever reason. And the next chapter is programmability. Alongside with this new chapter in Bitcoin that is opening up around programmability, on-chain programmability, more specific, you have the emergence of a network that is a fork of BTC called Fractal, which will have the same architecture as BTC, but it will have big blocks and unbounded script size ready to go. How do you expect this to affect the dynamic within BTC itself?
So the dynamics I expect is that Fractal will be ignored at the very beginning, so I don't see much noise in the German community as well. So Fractal isn't existing in their head at all. And one scenario where I see where some things can happen is when Fractal gets serious, people use Fractal. So people use their creativity to manifest their ideas. And also that means more transactions are happening, and maybe one or the other miner will then also simultaneously mine Fractal. So they will like bite in the apples like Adam, and then maybe there is no going back. We will see. So that's, for example, regarding the miners, the dynamics can change. And maybe if he's noticing, okay, I make more money in Fractal, maybe he will reconsider his BTC strategy. So just a couple of weeks ago, one miner went bankrupt. So as the economics of the security budget is not paying off so far. So it's a walking zombie when it comes to security budgets. So that's one scenario. And the second scenario is those people that came after 2017. So that's the majority actually. So they don't know about Bitcoin history. They only care about having fun, making money. And if those people know this, that they can manifest their ideas in the largest liquidity pool, which is BTC, and they are making money, and they don't have to ask anybody for permission, and they can't be censored. So I think the potential here, I can only underestimate it. So I have no idea how big this can turn out. So that's miner, so the miner dynamics, and also it just needs one killer application where one guy demonstrates to all people, hey, I can make my own application here on Bitcoin, and you can also be a part of. So maybe the killer application on Fractal can also pull in people from several crypto projects, be it also Solana or Ethereum, because they are fighting with major problems like blockchain overload and then censoring, which is not happening on BTC.
Yeah, we're really moving into territory that has been. This is what's crazy to me, man. Is that I already know how this is gonna play out, so I have to, with all candidness, I personally have to play the, oh, look at that over there, oh, what do you know, like a car with wheels moves forward, like dumb shit to me is like I've already been inside the spaceship of Bitcoin. I already have played with all of the buttons. Most of them, because there's so many I didn't even get a chance to. I've already experienced the fullness of Bitcoin. And so, to be honest, for me, all of this shit is really, it's like baby steps, and it's almost like, I'm like, okay, cool, man. You guys finally figured out Bitcoin's turn complete, BTC. Good for you. Okay. And now you're gonna first do programmability for the first time on Bitcoin, on the Bitcoin protocol. Good for you. And then you're gonna discover that you can do privacy on Bitcoin in ways you never thought of before. Not of the base layer transactions, because obviously they're open and transparent, but of data packets on chain. You're gonna discover that. And then you're gonna discover microtransactions. Oh, microtransactions. The fact that you can move, every movement on the internet could be a nano transaction. And then you're going to discover signaling with Bitcoin. And then you're going to discover signaling with proof of work. I already know how this is going to play out. So I have to say that, otherwise I feel very insincere. Honestly, I feel insincere. Okay, yeah. We're talking about this thing that, but so for me, it's been kind of it's been a process of humility, because I've learned that even though I may know things, if I don't factor in where the market is at the present moment, I'm not going to make that connection in real time with what the market wants, needs at the present moment, what the market understands, and what is possible with the technology. And what makes me hopeful now is that I see that gap bridging, the gap between knowing, between what is possible and what people know. And so we're in that process. And so how do you feel about that process? Do you feel like, from your perspective, is it something that, do you find it moving pretty fast, pretty slow? I'm curious to know.
I think the timelines are getting squeezed. So 1 month is the new 1 week.
Right.
And the new 1 week is the new 1 day. Yeah. So, and with Fractal, I think it's another step where the timelines will be squeezed. So that's for sure when this new speed on BTC comes along. And the way I feel about this whole process, where they will discover cheap transactions, then programmability and so on, I think we should not underestimate the dominance of the masses. So we really have to play along with the market. So it's like saying before we had horses, so electric cars are right. So they came along with horses, you say no, electric cars. And then came petrol cars, you still standing on ground saying electric cars, no. Then diesel cars, then hybrid cars, and you're always saying no, electric cars. And then when they finally arrived 100 years later, you're dead, and you say so leave a testament and say, yeah, you see, I told you, electric cars.
Yeah.
So we have to guide them, hold their hand step by step, because it's also a kind of an awakening, and showing the people what is possible with Bitcoin is really a slow process, because they have to change their thinking entirely what Bitcoin is about, and also their most.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Bitcoin's not about BlackRock?
Yeah, for example.
I thought that was the whole purpose, right? Just BlackRock, right?
Yeah, right.
I thought that was the purpose of Bitcoin.
Right.
What do you know? There's more to Bitcoin. Wow.
Yeah. So that's the thing, and I think those Asian people will also demonstrate what Bitcoin can really do. And it just needs one big influencer that says, wow, I didn't expect that, and people will follow.
So this Tuffler guy, Adam Tuffler? Alvin Tuffler. You're telling me that he's very popular in Asia. So it seems like the Asians are going to save Bitcoin. Is that what you're telling me?
It seems like.
It.
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, it seems
I
like.
welcome that.
Yeah, so just for the viewers to give some background, there was one South Korean president, Kim Dae-jung, so I hope I pronounced it right. He was put in prison by the North Koreans, and when he got out of the prison, he immediately wanted to see Alvin Toffler. So Alvin Toffler was a futurist. He died in 2016, but so at the age of 80, I think, more or less. And he then supported the South Korean government to design their strategy for the coming years. Very interesting. And not only South Korea, but also the Chinese president also studied his so the writings of Alvin Toffler, among them the third wave. So what dynamics are here and how China can prepare for their strategy overall. And I think the success of the Asian countries is based on the writings of Alvin Toffler, and it's public data. So if somebody wants to see the connection, type in Google Alvin Toffler and South Korea, you will see some writings where those governments really wanted to have the council of Alvin Toffler to see what will be successful for the coming future.
You know, what's interesting is that what Alvin talks about is very similar to what big blockers have been talking about, which is the idea that you eventually come to a state in which is very libertarian. You come to a state where you have a machine, a capitalist meritocracy that refines what is best for the bottom line, for profit, and what is best for the individual. And so what's best for the individual and what's best for profit goes hand in hand. And that's like where we, for example, the on-chain world, you see a lot of different protocols right now being launched. Some will some will be like the legacy to survive forever. Some will be forgotten. But the idea that you can actually build alongside the user is something that you cannot take away from the world anymore. And you know, what really geeks me out is the idea of awaiting for that moment where a scalable Bitcoin completely takes off and people can just interact with it almost for free because it's easy to subsidize, cheap to subsidize. On testnet, we see it as 1/50,000th of a penny right now. 1/50,000th of a penny per transaction and for posting. So, and for posting for sale. So it's almost like, shit, like, if that's what we're seeing on the testnet, like, that's what we know is possible. And this is a testnet that is live as a blockchain. So it's the unmentionable one, actually. You guys know what I'm talking about? Redacted, yeah. So, but on that testnet, we see what Bitcoin, and a lot of people come from the redacted. A lot of people that come from this on-chain world, actually, all of the top dudes there, they all come from that forbidden place because they were the rebel renegades. And that's the name Jeff called us. He says, you're the renegade Bitcoiners. That's what he said. You're the renegade Bitcoiners because you went against the status quo and you completely went against the status quo and just completely kept pursuing the fullness of Bitcoin. See, what is it that Satoshi really gave us here, and investigate it thoroughly. And so the cool thing is that we're all coming together finally again and saying, okay, the renegades, there's something about what the renegades did, the renegade Bitcoiners. They were right, and it's being played out. Now, the problem I have is that to me it moves too slow. You give me hope, and a lot of guys in the on-chain world give me hope because you keep saying like, time is being compressed more and more. So it's gonna happen sooner. I guess I'm just impatient because I don't want to be that old guy who's like, see, I told you guys, I want it to happen tomorrow, But right now I do feel like the guy that went back in time, that has been playing with ChatGPT and AI and iPhones 29 and I go back and I'm seeing people that are barely discovering a BlackBerry, so it's
I had a problem with naming.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
I'm sincere to the people here. I can't.
And I thought myself,
I'm not gonna lie and pretend to be stupid for you guys to appease someone. I'm not gonna do that. Like, I know what I know, and being outspoken about what I know has cost me. Has cost me because we've gotten DDoS attacked on our websites. We've gotten we've gotten backlash from the negative propaganda campaign that has been hell-bent in keeping these secrets from the masses. And I was one of the big voices saying, no, this is a supercomputer, right? So finally, it's like I'm being vindicated, and it feels great. But at the same time, I need to, from my experience, I have to, slow down because I know that the masses are easily manipulated. I know that the propaganda machine and the power and the war chest that the powers that shouldn't be have is like fucking infinite because they can just print money. I think that the way forward is, like I said earlier, is to have an abundance mindset and to invite everyone to have a seat at the table, because a true Bitcoin prospering economy on chain is one that is open and transparent and that gives people the opportunity to live in an honesty-driven environment, which in my reality is, and your reality is really what we all need. We need honesty, dude. Like, do you trust anything on the internet now? I don't trust anything on the internet. Social media is probably, first off, they're raping your mind. They're scanning your thoughts, literally. They know how you think, your thought patterns now, everything. And on top of that, you're being Sybil attacked like crazy by bots. And it's only gonna get worse. So you don't even know who to believe. Like, you're gonna have to. I think that, and I'm very happy that you took what you learned from me and from us here, and that you started a community in Germany for the German-speaking people. Because that is what matters. What matters is the human element. If you don't meet people in person moving forward, you're not going to know even if they're real. I know you're real. I met you in person. I can vouch that this dude is real. I'm touching him right here. You know what I'm saying? He's not an AI-generated dude talking in German about, on-chain stuff. Because you can literally generate a fake influencer now. So the lack of honesty that we're about to enter is something that is very scary. And a way to circumvent that is through proof of work. It is through Bitcoin itself. It is through the honesty machine that Bitcoin is. And so for me, it's of utmost importance that this happens as soon as possible. But I understand that people won't, they're easily manipulated. I'm happy that you and I are having this very candid conversation here, so that people listening, if they're not hip to what we're talking about on chain, then they can get hip. Because marketing agencies have already picked up even on our own language, like Coinbase did last summer, and they were pretending to be an on-chain network, but it was really a second layer of Ethereum that is controlled by a private company called Coinbase. That's not on chain, guys. You have to be understand that on-chain means it's on-chain in a real blockchain that is decentralized, that is competitive, open source and interoperable, that everything built is open source and interoperable on-chain. So when I talk like this, Kryptocrates, when I talk like this and I talk about transparency, a lot of people watching right now are probably thinking, well, I thought Raf was a privacy guy. I thought Raf was a guy who was Monero, Pirate Chain, and I am. I love privacy tools. I think they're important. They might have cognitive dissonance that here I'm talking about transparency and honesty. What would you have to say to that?
So, as I'm a cybersecurity consultant and also white hat hacker, the classical view on privacy was you have, for example, a box, and you say, so this box is in a box, and only this guy has access to this box. So that's the classical model of having privacy, the way I see it. And with this understanding, you will inevitably come to Monero or another privacy coin. So that's where you protect with the technology of Monero. So for example, how many Monero is sent and so on. And from a philosophical perspective, I would say absolutely makes sense. If you view privacy like as a shield, as a box, you want to protect yourself from a certain tyranny or from a third party, makes absolutely sense. And the challenge I see in having with only privacy is you get pushed into a corner until you have no space anymore to move. And the thing is, it's like depression. And what is the opposite of depression? It's expression. So you express your feelings, you express your human nature. And if you do that, it's only possible on a transparent blockchain. And Bitcoin in its original design has another way of privacy. It's not the box. It's more, so it's a whole new way of thinking about privacy. So it's privacy with traceability if needed. And the thing is, traceability is like this word, as you say. So the public blockchains, and privacy is the shield. So we need the right balance between privacy, so the shield and the sword. And with the sword you have accountability. So if you have rules where all people agree on, so not only the big financial institutions but also the people, if they say, okay, we like this rule, let's stick to it. And if you have also accountability, then you will have a society that will not cheat, that will be honest, also stick to those rules that are moral, ethical, and are not against the people. And this would be revolutionary if we also look at the way at Bitcoin, how it implements privacy. So at scale, for example, you can do microtransactions. So let's say I buy these shoes from you, Raf, and I can do 1 million nanotransactions to pay your shoes from different wallets. So I have a certain degree to anonymity. And another way that Satoshi designed Bitcoin, if you have it in scale, let's say you have billions transactions per second, then it's computationally like cost when it comes to costs, it's very difficult to do the computation, to do the analysis on the blockchain, because there's so much data that most people won't be able to afford this computation. And that's where privacy comes into Bitcoin. And the model of having security in a box, I think, will be also undergoing a stress test.
So, like, I like what you said, and I agree with you 100%. However, most people have a real hard time with understanding that concept of Bitcoin at scale, because they haven't experienced Bitcoin microtransactions, which were part of Satoshi's white paper. And in that world where you can split your UTXOs and you can like pay $100 bill, like you said, with 1 million transactions, you can do that. That is doable. Because on testnet, we're seeing it, it's 1/50,000th of a penny. So it's doable. I understand that, but people don't. Do you think we will see an awareness of that happening within the BTC crowd in the near future? And if so, what are the repercussions of that?
So you mean regarding the microtransactions?
Microtransactions, yeah.
So if those, the BTC people coming from the West, as said, they are not so much interested into innovation. So they stick to their store value perspective, and they don't care if we can do microtransactions or not. They mostly care about the price. So, and BTC people from Asia, I would say they are more open to it. They would embrace it and just tell themselves, okay, I will accept it. Let's see where it goes. So, as in the Ordinals conference in Hong Kong back in March, I think, or April. So we have seen people are open, people are ready to move forward with the on-chain economy. And I think those people in Asia, they will not show some sort of resistance. They will embrace it. So they are also genuinely interested what Bitcoin can do. But I think from the West, to be honest, I see a certain form of resistance.
You know, the crazy thing is that there is a resistance, but that resistance, I see it fading. Because the fact that the core devs are right now reinstating opcodes of programmability, meaning that they're enabling the waking up of the what we call us testnetters. We'll call ourselves us testnetters. We call it the Bitcoin virtual machine, which is the ability to compute script on chain. What's the purpose of that if it's not to take it to its logical conclusion, which is to have it on chain in an abundant way, in an unbounded way? I think a lot of the BTC crowd, the core devs, are having to say things almost, plausible deniability of like, well, we're enabling these opcodes because we need it for better second layer integration to provide more self-custody options. Dude, I think that's just bullshit. I'm sorry guys, I call you on bullshit. I think you're preparing to scale BTC on chain. I think you're preparing to scale the block size. And I think I'm the first guy on the internet to call you guys out. I think prove me wrong, because it makes no sense for you to enable these things. Because otherwise, it means that if you are just now enabling these things to enable second layer scaling, then it means that for the past 10 years, before you admitted that Bitcoin was Turing complete, that you were wrong and that you sold all of your investors a bag of goods that you didn't even understand. And that's why the Lightning Network failed. So what's really happening here, let's be honest, is that you're getting ready to scale the BTC blockchain to increase the block size. Because once you realize, this is the thing, it's not you, the core devs, realizing this, because I'm pretty sure you guys already knew this. It's about the masses. The masses already know that Bitcoin is Turing complete. So how much computational power will you allow the Bitcoin computer to have, to be able to embrace, to be able to run with? That is the question. And what people deep down want is that they are going to want faster, cheaper, and better as time goes on. And so to me, I think we're going to have a big block world, man. That's what I see as the inevitable conclusion to all of this. And you're seeing it because you have Solana already positioning itself to be a second layer to BTC, which is a big block proof of stake network through the Zeus integration. And now you have Fractal, which is like big block BTC. That's coming into being by testnetters and Binance. So this wave is only getting stronger. It's not going anywhere. So Yeah, I call bullshit on that. They just wanted for self custody and what a privacy and better L2. It's just all BS, dude. Anyone working on an L2 right now, to be honest, in my opinion, is working on a sunk cost. Did you ever get into L2 scaling or Lightning Network?
I did, so not from a technical perspective, but from the economics. So let's assume Lightning Network works, or whichever layer 2, and the thing is, BTC, let's say, does 3 to 7 transactions per second, and let's say Lightning does 1 million or even more. Just a rhetorical question. And the scenario I would see then that Lightning Network, so they could have the reason to abandon BTC completely and say, okay, so you now need us, so we are now independent of BTC, and then you have to use us or BTC. And the thing is, in this world, so the miners needed transactions on BTC in order to survive first, and second, the incentives of having a layer 2 like Lightning Network is not the same as those from BTC, so they have really different incentives. And Charlie Munger also said, if you want to predict the future, so have a look at the incentives, and that's exactly it.
Oh, it is,
yeah. So, and even Fractal, I think it's by design, so it simulates very well big block Bitcoin, but still the incentives of the Fractal people are still in opposition to the BTC people. So I think in the short term it will be perfect, but in the long term I also expect some fights between those two camps. So
between Fractal
and BTC.
Okay.
Because the incentives are not aligned.
But the interesting thing is that they are aligned where it matters most within Fractal, because you're feeding the miners more. So if Fractal is a success, obviously, right, you have to put that in there, that addendum in there, but people want to, the thing is that there is a urgency to play with Bitcoin. There's an urgency to embrace the fullness of Bitcoin, because proof of work and the totality of what proof of work can give us is something that most Bitcoiners have not discovered. Most Bitcoiners have not discovered signaling with proof of work. At testnet, we did it. I was actually part of it. I was part of the team. I actually helped fund the research and development for signaling with proof of work. Dude, it's badass, dude. Badass technology. It turns Bitcoin into an AI, like a swarm intelligence of sorts. It's incredible, dude. So they haven't also, very few people have actually taken the UTXO construct that Satoshi gave us and really played with it to its fullness. It's barely been discovered, guys. Like a lot of the integration that we've seen with on-chain Bitcoin stuff have been integrations that are very similar to what we saw in Ethereum. But very few people have actually done, well, testnetters have, but really play with the UTXO model, which, you know, is horizontally scalable. So that in itself is very motivating, and I think entrepreneurs, engineers are going to discover these things. They're going to discover proof of work and different applications for proof of work, and they're going to discover the UTXO model and how malleable it is, and how much. And when you combine the UTXO model, proof of work, and the ability to compute script, bro, you have ingredients to create so many recipes that are, it's wild how much you can create. And so yeah, there's no way, I don't think, that you can stop this, guys. I'm sorry. I think we're downhill from here, guys. I think we're downhill, which just goes downhill from here, where like now it's just the momentum's going to grow a lot faster, and I think that there's going to be a point where maybe you're right. Maybe BTC and the Fractal community will be have opposing incentives. I don't think so, because I think that the BTC core devs are already positioning themselves into scaling BTC. That's what I really think is happening. They're just not saying it out loud, because if they were to say it out loud right now, they would give attention to the unmentionable testnet, which already has everything activated, everything ready to go. And then any smart, intelligent investor would be like, okay, I will hedge on the unmentionable testnet. But yeah, so I personally, I'm at the waiting line, at the finish line, waiting with the unmentionable testnet. You're gonna have to figure out what it is, but I'm at the finish line waiting with my bag, just because I know it can happen any minute, right? Like I'm saying, and this is completely honestly, guys, I've told my friends we're at the game of chicken territory. We're playing the game of chicken now. All it takes is for someone that's very influential in BTC to say, you know what? It seems like what we're doing here is copying the unmentionable testnet. So what we're gonna do is I'm just going to hedge on it. Have it as a hedge. The moment that gets out, bro, like a very influential BTC person that is like lasered eye up and is completely part of that cult, the moment that person says that, it's fucking over, bro. At that moment, then everybody and their mama's gonna be like, yo, it's actually a reasonable stance to hedge on the unmentionable testnet. Why? Because BTC is already going in that direction fully. That's the future of BTC. So do you want to take this slow process, or do you want to take this, or do you want to just take the elevator to the 9th floor like now, you know? And which is very interesting to me. And then there's also the fact that the market is demanding something like the unmentionable testnet, and we see that with the excitement around Bells, which is a coin that it was like sleeping since 2013, and you know, a meme coin, the first meme coin, and now a lot of unmentionable testnetters are like grabbing it and saying, you know what, we can make this a playground for us as well. And then the same thing's happening with Fractal. So what can stop this?
To be honest,
yes, what can stop this? I want to know. You know this pretty well.
Yeah.
So okay, let me real quick. So for guys like you that learn from me, I see you as a peer, bro, because you came up with this knowledge, you understand it, and you're running with me now. We're running. So when I invite people to become part of TCV and the VIC, I'm inviting you. I'm not giving you a fish. I'm teaching you how to fish, guys. Okay? Know the difference.
Right.
He's a fisherman now, right? And he's the whole German world. He's teaching these things, okay, on a day-to-day basis. I taught him how to fish. I teach you how to fish. That's pretty much all I do, and that's what I do at the VIC, at the Vigilante Insiders Club. Can this be stopped? How?
If you look from so Bitcoin-related risks, so risk within crypto, I don't see anything that can stop the on-chain economy moving forward. Of course, you have nature, earthquakes, and all this stuff, but that's for me residual risk where you have no measures against. But if you only look at Bitcoin-related risks, I think nothing can stop Bitcoin from here now, in its original design. So I know we grew up in our lifetime, so like it's too good to be true, but I have the gut feeling that this idiom or this saying, will perceived way differently this time when Bitcoin proves its potential. So it is something that is, if it succeeds, I mean, the world within 5 or 10 years, or maybe even less, will look much, much different. And the thing is, it's not only about the technology, it's about culture, society, also the relationship with big tech, with authorities. So everything will be changed because the incentives will be, so people-centered. So people make the most money when they help other people. And yeah, having said that,
You
yeah,
just said it, bro.
yeah, having said that,
Bitcoiners helping Bitcoiners.
yeah,
That's
right,
all it is, bro.
right.
People helping people. That's all the on-chain world is.
Yeah, right. And with people you don't even know. So basically, from all those, so you versus those 7.9 billion people. And if you harvest this creativity on chain, where everybody has its own creativity. So when you look at the DNA and the experiences, the sum of the DNA and the experiences make up your own creativity. And with this creativity, if you let it manifest on chain, you have 8 billion different possibilities. So 8 billion different ideas. And the blockchain will also be a sparring partner. So let's say with the creativity, so if you provide a copy, the blockchain will say, no, please be a bit more creative. And then your imagination will also be challenged. And the thing is, what will be the consequence if ideas will be the new wealth? The consequence will be you will do everything you can to protect this thing in your head, your brain. And this will be something like you will get back into nature. You will take some measures. So all the ones that people are mentioning nowadays, so like avoiding blue light, barefoot grounding. And I see a possibility, also Alvin Toffler is speaking about that, people will go back into nature to protect their brain. So they want to have their brain as an idea factory. And with those new ideas, they will also make money. And the consequence will be that the better your brain is, the better your neuroplasticity is, the less you have to work. So let's say one idea a day and you make money. So this is amazing. And yeah, what can stop this? I mean, difficult to say, really. So
yeah, dude. As you were talking, I was having ideas. I was having ideas. It's wild because, okay, man, look. You guys watch me because I'm candid. I shoot straight from the hip, guys. I am a Civil War veteran with PTSD, okay? I was through the whole Bitcoin forks. Like, I was having these types of conversations in 2012. Like, I understood the potential of Bitcoin then, right? So my temptation is kind of like, you know, like, take it easy, man, because I know how powerful the opposition is, and I know how effective they are at silencing voices, conditioning people, manipulation, lies, deceit, light, cheating, and stealing, like they themselves admitted. Light, cheating, and stealing. I know that I know the vibrations that they vibe with. Dude, you know what's fucked up? They took the programmability of Bitcoin and gave it to Project Hamilton, bro. With the CBDC in the United States, the commercial CBDC. So that goes to show you, like, so they know this. They know what we're talking about. But we want to give the programmability of Bitcoin to the world. And we want that awareness to grow. So, guys, it's really up to you guys if you guys want to live in a better world. Because what he just said about taking care of your mind goes in correlation going forward for your loved ones, your family and friends. Correlation to the success of Bitcoin's on-chain world. Literally, I'm being very honest here, guys. If the on-chain world takes off, you will have very beautiful, peaceful lives where you will be able to, you'll be taking care of your mind because the ideas of your mind will be profitable. If the on-chain world doesn't take off, you're going to end up in digital slavery. Period. And AI you're already a dopamine addict. If you've watched this video this long, you're probably not as dopamine addicted. But look around you. Look at these kids watching 3-second videos on TikTok. They're already addicts, zombies. They're dopamine addicts. So, can someone like that be creative? Let's be honest here. Can someone who's a dopamine addict be an addict? No. Or someone that's addicted to anger, because he's like, that's very you see this cortisol addicts, right? Amongst the freedom movement, you see guys that are very angry. Why? But that's also feeding in this new addiction, right? I'm angry at the system, and look how fucked up things are, right? But to take care and foster your creativity and to take that self-care, you have to have an outlet, like a feedback loop. And so this is the feedback loop. It's Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the feedback loop that nourishes you in the real world by being creative on chain. And you guys need that. We all need that. I want that, because it's otherwise creativity is going to die, man. They're giving all of the creativity to fucking AI. So what happens if we don't succeed? What's up?
What happens if Bitcoin doesn't succeed?
Yeah.
So let's say worst case scenario. Let's say all the crypto projects go to zero. Nobody's interested anymore. Then the way I see it, that big tech will have much more power, and that also means more manipulation, and also that we won't. So we will have barely any tools left. So in order to protect our privacy, to protect our anonymity, and also our loved ones. And I just seen this morning that they launched a technology where, based on the brain waves, they can recreate the image with AI. So what you're thinking, they can display it on a picture. And this is amazing. So even mental privacy is not guaranteed if Bitcoin doesn't succeed. And that's scary to me. So even if they watch your brain, and imagine if you couple that with big data analytics, so as soon as you have one thought or two suspicious thoughts, then you maybe have to, you will be, how do you say in English, prosecuted maybe. And that's the danger I see, especially mental privacy. And so it's pretty scary, and I think that's the fuel for us, Raf, what we fight for. So that we have a peaceful world where people are interested in other people and protect their ideas. So for me, there is actually no plan B.
Yeah, man, there is no plan B. That's why I'm here, guys. I could be at a beach somewhere, like chilling right now. I don't have to be coming to these conferences. I could literally just go out and, like, literally at this point in my life, just like, but I just can't, dude, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If you end up living in a prison planet, we are in a prison planet already. We're 1 minute away from turnkey tyranny, guys. Like the amount of surveillance that you are susceptible to now, the amount of this is where you move into learned helplessness. Is that mental conditioning saying, well, there's nothing you can do, you lost. And so I see a lot of demoralization happening in crypto. And it started with the propaganda machine saying that Bitcoin was nothing more than a store of value, a commodity, a bare instrument, a bare asset, where it's do nothing. Dude, okay, so guys, check this out. Let me put it to you this way. They sold you a box, and it told you, hey bro, don't, whatever you do, put that box, dig that box, it's gonna accrue in value, don't open it. It's just a box, bro. It's a box. Don't touch it. And they passed that box around and they told you don't do anything with that box. All along, that box was a fucking computer. And some renegade guys from the renegade testnet of Bitcoin that has the Genesis block as well, they said, you know what? No. Let's turn this. Let's look at this box. Let's really look into everything that this box has. And they realized it's a fucking supercomputer. It's the biggest computer in the world, right? And so that whole thing about BlackRock ETF in the news was all bullshit, guys. It was all bullshit. That's not really Bitcoin. A box is not Bitcoin. A do-nothing instrument is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin was given to us with immense amount of utility. It was given to us with the ability to program on-chain unbounded, to have microtransactions, nanotransactions of 100,000th of a penny per posting on chain for selling on chain. The transaction fees are fucking cheap. That with $100 I can subsidize billions of transactions, making it free for the planet to go on chain and put their creativity to the world for the world to give it a price. How beautiful is that? You know? So this is something, a technology that's very important that needs to get out. That is a technology that was held back because the number one way to stop a movement is to rob it of its youth. When you can't kill a movement, you take away its youth. And so what do? Attrition. What do? You just waste people's time. And we had about a decade of this going back and forth where they were given this version of Bitcoin that was not Bitcoin to me. It's just a box. And they sold it as Bitcoin. And they just pumped it with fiat. And they brought in the real people running the game here, interests like BlackRock, to even give it, we're going to make it an ETF or whatever. And you never turned the box on. So what we're talking about here is turning the damn box on. And we're doing it. It's finally happening. And so for me, I'm very cautious, man, because I already know what they're capable of. So I'm like, they're probably going to see the bad thing about it right now is that they've probably they've already thought about it very well as to like how to deal with a successful Bitcoin economy. So they already probably have that in line, but I don't see how they can, like, at its fullness. I don't think they can. I don't think that can stop it. And so it's just really important for us to get this out, because I see a lot of discouragement happening, and you guys shouldn't be discouraged. Another discouragement is, hey, utility doesn't pump, is what they tell you. Utility doesn't pump. Utility doesn't pump. You know what pumps? Stupidity pumps. Memes pump. Dumb shit pumps. No. What brought Bitcoin to what it was its utility. You know, before we had the forks, it was the utility of Bitcoin as cash at the time. Now that specific type of utility, which is, I believe, the era of the Bitcoin Cash guys, that specific type of utility is not as desired in the world anymore, because the banks caught up to it with Venmo, with PayPal. They caught up to the digital cash aspect. You have to look deeper. And the real game changer here is the bit aspect of Bitcoin, Bitcoin's computational power. That's really where the game changer is and where things are happening. So again, I'm going to ask you, do you really think can this be stopped or not? What do you think?
No, Raf. So the only thing, if they know it can't be stopped, the only thing they can do is deceive people as long as they can and to defer the inevitable. That's the only thing they can do. And that's what we see.
You give me a lot of hope. Thank you. You give me a lot of hope. Thank you for being with us, man. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Tell them, where can they find you? If you're German, listening, you have German friends, where can they find you? You want to say it in German? Go for it.
Why not? So, Kryptocrates, das ist mein Name. Also ihr findet mich auf Instagram, auf YouTube, wie auch auf Telegram. Auf Telegram gibt es noch viel bessere Infos. Und ja, ich freue mich, euch zu sehen auf YouTube oder auf Telegram. Und bin Raphael sehr dankbar, dass er mir diese Chance gegeben hat. Ich war auch bei Vigilantes schon sehr früh dabei und habe jetzt eine eigene Community aufgebaut mit Dutzenden von Leuten und wäre auch froh, wenn du auch dabei wärst. Danke dir für deine Aufmerksamkeit und bis zum nächsten Mal.
Bro, you gave me a lot of hope, man. It was a pleasure meeting you, man. Thank you for everything. Guys, thank you for tuning in, and please spread the word. Like, subscribe, whatever. I don't care, guys. We just need hyper Bitcoinization now.
Right now.
Because I do not want to fucking live in slavery, dude. That's like, you know, and one thing I forgot to mention, but I love privacy. We love privacy coins. But privacy doesn't give you that network effect and virality that we need to counteract this. I haven't seen it yet. So a privacy community would have to come up and like create a way to be completely anonymous and viral at the same time. That's a big challenge. Anonymous and viral. Not just in the aspect of money, but in the aspect of applications and the ability to program things on chain. That has not happened. So till I see a testnet version of that, I can't say, yo, there it is. It's the honest truth. But you should have privacy coins, because shit hits the fan and hyper Bitcoinization doesn't happen. And they're in, like in Sweden right now, it's like you can't even pay. You can only spend X amount of money, like digital ID and shit. Like you can only spend there's already programmable money there where you can't even use cash. Then you better have a Monero. You better have a Pirate Chain. So everyone should have a Pirate Chain. Everyone should have a Monero, because that's the surefire way of you being able to survive if shit gets really bad. But the way to fight back and counteract this is definitely on-chain.
Absolutely, Raf.
Alright guys, well we're good. Peace, love, anarchy. Now we are dealing with a possible world war. Some will say we are already in a world war. My condolences and prayers go out to everyone suffering under tyranny. It really sucks. I'm really sorry. But it seems as if people are starting to wake up regarding crypto more and more each day. And so it's in the description right here to read, where we give our secret sauce and what we teach our subscribers, because things are just that bad. You know, everyone needs this information. People need to know about sound cryptocurrencies that are actually private by default, and to know how to properly use crypto.